Hello, everybody. It's been a while, I guess. Big things in my life have happened. Moved away, live at a house, going to college. And now I have time to make a video, and I guess this one's going to be a little bit out of my ballpark. This is a compact battery from 2000, and it goes to a laptop I like a lot. It's a Compaq Armada M700. And it does work, or it did. And I accidentally unplugged it while it was flat. I don't have the right charger, so I have to keep the barrel plug in the exact position for it to work. And I accidentally moved it while it was charging, and it kind of died because it was already flat, and then decided, oh, hey, I'm actually dead, and then locked itself from charging. But I'm told that sometimes you can fix this with an external battery charger. Oh, great. So I've got a universal power supply here, and we're going to figure out how to do this. Or I've already done it. I've already figured out how to do it. That's because I know a guy who's done this before, and he was able to help me out. Now this is, let's see here, I think it says a 14.8 volt battery, which means it's 4 cells, or in this case it's actually an 8 cell, but it's 4 banks of cells that are, I believe it's 4 in serial to, yeah, okay, so it's 2 banks of cells, 4 in series with another bank in parallel. If I've got that right. It might be the other way around. Anyways, I'm going to try and charge this thing up. And it's flat. There is still a bit of a charge. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. I honestly doubt it. But if I remember correctly, the left one is positive. I think I'll prop the phone up here, actually. Let's see if I can do this just right so you can see a bit easier. Work with me. No, it ain't gonna happen. Well, anyways, last night this was reading 6 volts, is what you need to know. So there's a bit of electricity stored in it still, which means something's there, and it means each cell is at about 1.5 volts. And that's not a lot at all. Each cell should be at, I believe, 3.7 for this battery to function and properly power the laptop. This might be a locked battery completely. It might not just be telling the computer it can't charge. It might straight up say, I'm not charging. And that is because this is a legitimate safety risk if I were to try and charge this thing. It's not huge. The chances of anything happening are low, so as long as I'm not stupid. But there is a chance of this thing combusting, which is why I'm outside on my porch with an extension cable. So, you got to be careful with this. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to set the voltage to this to be, I believe, the number of cells divided by 3.7 times 4.2. So in this case, it'll be 16.8 volts. And let's see here. Yes, I can adjust it with this knob. It's been a moment since I've used this thing. There we go, 16.8. And the amperage should be about half of the amp hours on here. I'm not doing that, though. Because this thing is so low, like I said, there's a safety risk. You don't want to charge it too quickly. That could straight up lead to it exploding or combusting, which is why you don't charge it too fast. that's when you hit the risk of explosion. Instead, I'm going to set it to something incredibly low. We're going to set it to 0. Let's see here. Alright, 0.2, and that's good. 0.25. That's really, really, really slow. That's, I believe 4.2 watt hours. And this is something like, it's like 55 watt hours. But that's just because we're trying to get it up to somewhere safe. I was told around 11 volts is when you can start upping it to more like 2 amps total. So I am going to be measuring with this about an hour in to see where it's at. And if it's hit about 11, then that's when it makes sense to do that. I believe it's left positive, right negative, but I am going to be measuring off camera with the multimeter to make sure, and then I'll hook this up to it and send it juice. And then probably cover it with a plastic box and get this bag of charcoal away from it. I've been barbecuing. So, just a moment. Fun fact, I completely misread it last night. First of all, this is the negative side, so I'm glad I double checked. When I hooked this up, it actually said 0.6 volts. So this thing is like flat. It's almost dead. It's barely doing anything at all. And I wish I could get it on camera, but I don't have a tripod. I'm going to consult my electrical guy on this real quick before I send juice. So basically he says, don't bother. When have I ever done that? And so I said, no, I want to do it. I have nothing to lose. This battery's already dead. Well, nothing to lose aside from my safety. And so he said, all right, but charge it very slowly, even slower. And he said 0.125 is good. And so that's what we're going to do. .125. There we go. Okay. Right then. And he said to do that until it reaches about 1.5 volts, which I'm assuming will take maybe an hour and a half at this rate. This is like 2 watts per hour. Watt hours. So you might be wondering, how am I going to get into these tiny little parts here? This guy has alligator clips, right? They don't fit. No bueno. So my friend gave me a solution that I would have never thought of. It's completely genius. Screwdriver bits. These will fit perfectly in here. See that? Very, very well. And so, one last time I'm going to verify the polarity on each side here, because I think I just forgot, to be honest. And so, give a quick check on that, and then we'll start the process. Okay, so things have escalated. By this, I mean I've opened up the battery, and I measured the cell voltage. Now, turns out my explanation was a little wrong. I got it backwards, like I thought might have happened. I have 4 banks of 2 cells in parallel, each of them measuring 4.2 volts, I think it was. No, not 4.2. Or maybe it was. Geez, I can't remember. But the point is, it's open. And strangely enough, all these banks are actually measuring okay, which tracks because I know this battery did work. It's 3.2, 3.2, 3.5, 3.6 volts, which adds up to 13.5 volts, which is dead, but only just. So, in theory, the battery management system, which is the computer, you can see that circuit board in back, there's no real reason why it should have locked up, but it has. So I'm talking to my friend about this, and we found a Polish website talking about a BMS reset. I don't read Polish, but out of a complete coincidence, my friend does. Okay, so we spent a bit of time looking online and couldn't really find anything. However, these are technically out of balance. There's 3.2, 3.2, 3.5, 3.6. I don't think this actually particularly means anything. The board inside of here should automatically balance these cells. So, in theory, they should be within spec. But they have been sitting for like a year, over a year, maybe a year and a half now. So I'm hooking them up, and I'm being careful here. And I'm going to charge them. And since they are all at a properly fine voltage, I have no problem throwing a bit more amp at them. And I'm throwing absolutely 1.89 amps because, technically speaking, these are 3.92 amp hours. So I'm just being careful, basically. This shouldn't take too long, I don't think. I might leave them for a little bit of time. Basically, once I see this current reading start to drop off, I'll know they're starting to get full. And I'm going to go through and charge each pack. So you can see I've got it connected to each battery terminal. There and there. And in theory, this should do it. So let's just start it up. And look at that. It's doing it. It appears to be taking current. I'm not smelling anything irregular. They're not getting hot. Okay. Looks like things are going. Nice. Okay, so it took about an hour and a half, I'd say. But I think it's finished. And I think it's finished because it immediately went from like 3 volts to, 3 watt hours to 0. And I thought, oh, well, I guess the continuity was broken or something. So I wiggled them around a bit and it started up again, but it was really fluctuaty. Went in between like 1 and 2.8 randomly for like 10 seconds and then dropped to 0 again. So I guess it's done. So I'm going to see if I can do this one-handed and probably fail. And so the negative is on this side on this one. I guess it doesn't really matter. It'll give me the same number either way. And then, yeah, I'm gonna have to put it down for this. You'll have to just believe me. It's at 3.8 volts. We'll call it good enough. Because it just won't charge any further than that, seemingly. As for this, I think I feel safe increasing this, the amperage on this. It's the wrong knob. This is mainly because I noticed it actually doesn't seem to be drawing more than it needs, which makes sense. And strictly speaking, Guy told me it was okay to just set this to whatever. So I'll do 2.2. He said it was, I should clarify, he said it was okay to set it to whatever after a certain voltage threshold on the batteries. So I'm going to assume that's right and do that. And I'm going to repeat the process on the others. So I'll see you later, much later. So it is now the next day, because I decided I didn't want to charge this overnight, and bank 3 stopped charging at like midnight 30. So I put this one on this morning, and it is now pretty much done here, as you see. So I'm going to turn it off and disconnect the leads. Now, I don't really have any way of testing this while it's apart like this, and I don't really have any more ideas aside from flashing a new image to this EEPROM that's in here that would re-enable it, but I don't have a chip flasher, and do I really want to go to that extent? So I'm going to get this back together and we'll see if it just kind of works. Be pretty cool if it did. Okay, so the battery's back in the laptop, and I don't actually think this is going to work, but, you know, give it a try. Press the power button. Nope. One last thing I can try is maybe plugging it in, because I think the battery, from what I read, this battery works by, it has basically power states, and right now it's probably in a sleep mode of sorts, and because it's all locked up, as it was dead, it's probably saying, hey, I'm not going to power this laptop right now, I'm dead. But maybe if I were to plug it in and have it read its voltage values again, maybe it'll unlock itself. So I'm going to find a charger for this thing, and we'll try that. Not sure if that'll work either, but you never know. Okay, charger's rigged up. It's doing its RAM test, which takes a hot minute. I mean, really. This thing has, I think, 320 megabytes of RAM. So it has to count up really slowly because the CMOS battery's dead. There we go. Now it's done. I think I have a copy of Windows 98 installed on this. I'm going to put this up. Take it off my lap. Oh! I guess that charger's kind of finicky. Shit. The fact that it immediately turned off when I moved it means that battery is probably not working. Oh, and we have to wait for this again. Dang it. Here we are again. So I'm all but certain that this laptop's battery has not come back to life for me here, which is fine, but kind of sad. Even charging all the cells to 4 volts isn't bringing it back, which is about what I expected, because really, this is not meant to be a user serviceable product, obviously. Though I will note that Windows 98 does say it is charging. Though this light isn't on, the charge light, so it isn't. It's charging, but it's not charging. The battery reports 0%, even though it's at 100%, completely full. And I would have to get an EEPROM programmer to actually properly reset this thing, which maybe I'll do, because my university, I believe, does have EEPROM programmers. So that could be kind of interesting, if I were to find a copy of the firmware used on the battery. Anyways, yeah, a video like this is more about the journey than the destination. And I will say it was pretty interesting. Decently fun as well. And with that in mind, I actually have a slightly newer Compaq. This guy right here. A bit newer Pentium 4 equipped machine Wow, I forgot how bad a shape this thing is in, but it is quite literally a mobile workstation from the time. Oh, the back plate even came off. Wow, this thing is rough. Yeah, it was like, you could do a lot of stuff with this back then. And its battery also did work at a time. That's the hard drive. Doing this one-handed sucks. This guy also did work at one time, but I accidentally pulled it out while it was on. And it just said, nope. No more. And it would last for about an hour. So it would be kind of cool to get this working again. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that on my own time. Anyways, see you around.